Well, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Today is Monday. We say Friday, so I feel like we should also be saying Monday. It sounds weird, but I think if we get excited about it. I saw a post that a friend of mine said it, and she said, hey, you should be excited that it's Monday because that means that we're getting closer to Friday. We have to go through the Monday to get to the Friday. And that was deep, and it was almost on like a Facebook spiritual level. And I feel like that should be talked about more, and it's not. So let's talk about it for a second. So you have to go through the Mondays to get to the Fridays. The Fridays at 5, right? Isn't that what we work towards now? So anyway, happy Monday. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Apparently there was some sort of party. I didn't get the invitation to it, and it seems like it was very sporadic, but there was this balloon that went flying all over the place. We're going to talk a little bit more about it when Walt comes on the air eventually, but it was exciting to see our military get to do something. Part of me is a little bit upset, though. Like, I feel like maybe we should have not let it happen in the first place. I mean, that's why they tell us that they have all these sensors and spy cameras and all this other crap up all the time so that, stuff doesn't just happen its way into our country. I guess maybe the balloon thought it was somebody coming over the southern border. And so they were just like, oh, well, just let it in. That's what we do on the southern border anyway, right? Thanks, China Joe. Then I had a friend, I do have to share this. This was actually pretty funny. So let me see. Hold on. I got to pull this up because I have a dear, I've known him since I was like, I don't know, 15 years old. Dear friend of mine. He actually made a video to kind of help dispel some of the stuff that's happening with the balloon and everything. And so I thought, you know what, this was important stuff. I teased him that if he kept making comedy gold like this, that I was going to have to start sharing it on Texas Fully Loaded. And I think that he thought I was kidding. Not kidding, Jim Harry. You're welcome for that. So here we go. Hold on, y'all got to see. This was kind of funny. It's cheesy, but it was funny. Hold on, it's coming. It's coming. That's right. Glass half full, Simon. Hi, Greg. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Okay. The computer has not had its Monday morning coffee yet. I do apologize.
So it's the weirdest thing. Everybody's complaining about this Chinese balloon. It's up in the air. Everybody thinks it's spying and stuff. And I just found out that everybody's upset about this. And meanwhile, that balloon is dropping me off tractor implements. I got me a new post hole digger straight from that Chinese balloon. So quit being so upset about it. If you look right over here, it specifically says made in China. So you too can get tractor implements. You can't beat that. You're never operating post hole diggers ever again. So quit whining about Chinese balloons and start enjoying all the benefits of being part of China under China Joe. It's a win, all right? I'm going to show you how this works in the next video.
Is that not great? I mean, okay, so let's back up for like 5 seconds. So Amazon has talked about using drones to start doing deliveries, and I think in some places, I don't know why I look so rough this morning. I think it's the lighting. They have talked about using drones to start doing deliveries and stuff like that. And so when he posted that video, I was cracking up laughing, and in the comments, one of his buddies was kind of getting on to him because I think maybe they thought for 5 seconds that he started going socialist or woke, which if you know my Jim Harry, like he's on steroids compared to us. So he's not going that direction. But he said, hey, I don't know what you're complaining about. And if you don't stop talking like this, they're not going to let you change your American dollars in for yen. So you better stop. And it's, as funny as it is, it's not, because he's not too far off. I mean, if you really stop, like, okay, number one, why in the world did it even get in our airspace? Like, I can't figure this out. Number two, how come they didn't respond to it until after posts on social media were going, hey, what the hell is this over Montana? Like, it had been here for a hot second. Like, they could have taken care of this before it ever came in over top of the United States. And then the concern, I get it, was, well, we can't exactly do anything about it while it's, over land, because it is from China. So what's to say that it's not going to have like some some new on steroid Wuhan stuff, because, you know, the very people who were defending China during the COVID stuff. Think about that for a second. Hold on. We're all putting some pieces of a puzzle together here for a minute. The very people who were defending the Chinese and protecting their dear friend Fauci and saying, "Hey, this isn't about China." We're saying, "Hey, we can't explode this thing over top of the United States because there might be something in there." I have some issues here. Now, I know that you guys, y'all, if you've been watching this show for any amount of time, which presumably you have, and if you haven't, welcome. And also, I'm so sorry. This is as good as it's going to get. Just kidding. I have some memes. I have some memes to maybe help along the way. Hold on. We're having a struggle this morning with some computer stuff. I know you also don't believe that, and now we're frozen. This is exciting. Okay, hold on. Here it comes. You know, there's so many things about what happened with this balloon, and I will say I do want to give some huge credits. I shared on our Facebook page. You guys need to be following and liking and all of that stuff on our social media, even if you're watching us on TECN.TV or TexasFullyLoaded.com. Old habit, some old habits are hard to die. Then you need to be, and I know that you're saying, but you can't be on Facebook because, you know, they silence your speech and all that stuff, and it, you know, I don't think that that's happening. I mean, it is happening, but I don't think it's happening here any less than it is anywhere else. And we just have to fight back. And also, like I said when I was running for office, like, if we're not on these liberal platforms, then how are we supposed to reach those who need to hear this message? So I digress. Anyway, you get comedy gold if you subscribe. I also no. I'll wait for Walter. He's actually, I think he's down on the border, so we're waiting to hear back from him as to when he's going to get. You know what? The internet is being a struggle for sure. Oh, Lord. We're going to be fighting the battery struggle as well, because I have to go to Best Buy to get a computer charger. It's just, it's not easy being a G. A gangsta. Okay. No, I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. I have some funny videos for you. Oh, yes. Of course I'm ready, Simon. But hold on. Email it to me so I can click on the link. It makes it easier. That way I don't have to try and go through all the websites and everything to get to it. If you email it to me, then I can get it up way faster. Greg Parker, you are absolutely a G. So, okay. Let me kind of, I'm going to jump around. I know that y'all also don't believe that either. So last night was the Grammys, and I haven't watched an award show in probably, I don't know, 10 years or so. And so I wasn't going to watch it at all. And then I was like, you know what, let's see what kind of disaster this is going to look like. And actually the only thing that kind of kept me wanting to watch it is that Billy Crystal was going to be on. And I was like, well, I like Billy Crystal. And then they said that Stevie Wonder was going to be singing, and Smokey Robinson is going to be singing. And I was like, oh man, okay, you know what? I'll watch for them. I'll see what we have going on for them. So I did. So then I thought, okay, you know what? Since I'm already here, and because I am the gatekeeper for keeping everyone young and hip on Texas Fully Loaded, which that's a scary thought, I figured, you know what, let's just watch so I think I probably watched most of it, if not all of it. And everyone was just, and even on news today, they're like, oh, Beyonce, she's the most Grammy singer ever, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, that's great. Fantastic. Which, I mean, good for her. I don't dislike her. She's not my favorite, but it's just not my style of music either. And I know she's got some good points, and, you know, she does a lot of good in her community and things like that. So whatever. So anyway, but it was also, and this is where it gets really funny, Greg. They were doing a tribute to hip hop, because I guess this is like the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And when I said those words out loud to Walter, he got very angry and he's like, no way. No, at the most it's 40. There's no way it's 50 years old. And I was like, I'm just telling you what they said. I didn't make up the Grammys or what they're fake celebrating. I'm just telling you, like, here's where we're at. And so anyway, they had this, they really did do a really good like collaboration kind of thing of like hip hop over the last 50 years. And it was really good. I was enjoying it. I was like, ah! So there's a lot of faces that we haven't seen in a long time. So I enjoyed it. I thought that was a lot of fun. And then now they're doing a Dr. Dre award. And I'm like, wow, wait a minute. The king of gangster is now getting a humanitarian award. Well, I guess it was that maybe that's not a fair say as a humanitarian award. It was like a what he's done as an entrepreneur and to help grow music and to help get music in the lives of kids and like all this other stuff. And so I was mildly surprised. Like there were some new things I didn't know about him. But if you want to get back to the roots of who Dr. Dre is, can we talk about his NWA days? And some of the songs from when he was with NWA, it wouldn't make you think like this was going to be an end goal for him. And one of the things, like, we were laughing last night when we were watching it, because you're watching all of these. I mean, back in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s, these guys were just like, they were straight thug. And I sent a clip to Walter. And he was cracking up laughing because he's like, they just look like regular guys now. Why do they just look like regular guys now? And I was like, well, I mean, they all got, I don't know if anyone's told you this, but you don't look like you did in the 80s and 90s either. But it was funny because there was who was it that give me a second. Who was it that there was one that Busta Rhymes came out and he like did his thing. And I was cracking up laughing. I was like, man, he had to get a shot of something before he could make his mouth move like that again. Because he about limped off the stage. Absolutely in stitches, but I laughed. I enjoyed it. I did, but I got a good kick out of it because I enjoyed the wow, buddy, you just put a whole lot of stuff in there. But also, yes, because we're going to get to that as well. If you don't know this about my show, no, I definitely agree, Miss Patty. If you don't know this about my show, buddy, I always hit on everything. So even though there is a ton of negative, I always like to highlight the good stuff. I still like Stevie Wonder's music, and if you don't listen to Stevie Wonder's music anymore or Smokey Robinson anymore, then that's on you. But I think. That's what I'm screaming, Greg Parker. I told you I was singing along to it. I'm not a lowercase G anymore. I'm straight G. Okay. Like I got you. I have to, like what is in my playlist in my phone is not what my kids get to hear. Okay. Because, there was a meme a long time ago or whatever. And it was like, all them basic white moms who are dropping their kids off in the school pickup line and drop off line with their coffee in one hand and their sunglasses. And as soon as the kid gets out the car, they go from like straight up nice mom. And then as soon as the kid gets out of the car, you're like, bye, honey, have a great day. And then you're not even out of the school parking lot and you're straight bumping to some DMX or some Nelly or, salt and pepper. I mean, you name it and it's happening. Okay. So it is what it is. The first lady, Jill Biden, gave an award last night. And it was a very well-deserved award last night. Bonnie Raitt got it. And it was, I think that my favorite moment of Bonnie Raitt getting her award was her just knowing she wasn't going to get it because there was all of these younger, like, super whatever artists that were up for awards also in the same category. And instead she was the one that got it. And so she was just sitting there and she's just, minding her own business. Like she was listening, you could tell, but she just like, she knew mentally that there was no way that she was going to walk away with the award that she got last night. And she did. And I seeing her face like light up and like just the true humility and like the, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I just beat all these youngsters. That I thought that was a really sweet moment. They had a couple of other really great moments throughout the night. Unfortunately, I would have, unfortunately/fortunately, I would have never in 100 zillion years, this is probably why I haven't watched an award show in probably 10 years, watched that with my family. There's no way I would have watched that award show with my kids. And here's, I'm gonna pull this up. So if you have little kids around you, make them go away or turn their little heads or something, because it's rough what happened last night. So while there was some really great moments for the world last night, if you will, there was some really terrible, absolutely horrible moments for humanity last night. One of them was, there was this song, and it won what did they call it? What award? It was best group song or something like that. Yeah, best group song or something along those lines. And the name of the song is called Unholy. So right away, you can, as a general adult thinker, you can assume that this song is not really going to be very, very family friendly. Now, if you are an adult thinker, you have not let your children watch any of these award shows in at least 10 years anyway. But I digress. And you should be monitoring what your children are listening to and all of that kind of stuff, because if you actually are parenting your children and not letting your children parent themselves, this is already happening. Like, we're all in a good place. Okay. So I had never heard of these two artists at all ever before. One of them's name is Sam Smith, and then the other one's name is Kim Petras. Now, this is where it already started off exciting, okay? Because, and look, I literally, okay, just for the record, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna let you guys look at this with me together. So monitor your children if they're nearby. Okay, but this was on TV last night. This was on CBS during prime time. Like, this is what's happening. Okay, so I put into my search engine, all I put is Unholy, as you guys can see right there. That's all I put in was Unholy. Okay. Sam Smith, as you can see, in his very nice top hat with devil horns on them. And this, what presumably was a young lady, because we didn't know. I mean, I don't know who these people are. I have a hard time picking out artists that I actually own the albums to. And the last time I bought an album was probably back in 2000. Okay. So like, here's where you're at with me. Okay. So I'm not the top notch, like, let's play the guess the musician game, or that's not my forte. I can't tell you. Okay. I just can't. So we're watching, and like, you could pick out some, like, you can't pick out Shania Twain anymore, because I had no idea who the heck she was. And I used to love Shania Twain. She got up on the stage. She got fire engine red, like this color red hair. And I couldn't recognize her anymore. Anyway, so this little thing is sitting next to this little thing. Let me see if I can make these pictures. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is a beautiful picture of them. Now, the best part is that the one that it appears to be, I need you guys to see this. Hold on. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Y'all need to see this, okay? Making sure you guys can see this. It's taking a second. There's a little bit of a lag, so give it just a second. It's catching up. I forgot to hit that button. Okay, so as you can see, this little couple, I don't even know what to call them. Okay, so chick over here, who we presumed until she gave her speech was a chick. She got a little red veil all over, like she's kind of got a little Madonna vibe happening, I guess. And I had even made the comment, she had really cute shoes on. I was like, those are really cute shoes. When she was walking up, like, I just, whatever. And then as she starts talking, she's overcome with emotions because she's the first transgender woman to ever win a Grammy. Are you hearing what I just said to you? She's the first transgender woman to ever win a Grammy. And then Sam over here has got his little dominatrix little choke collar thing on. And look, whatever you want to do in your bedroom is between you and your bedroom mates. And fingernail polish. He was also wearing heels. Now here's where it gets really gross. Here we are. This is lovely. Sorry, Miss Batty. So look at how lovely this guy is. So this is what he's dancing to, and with whatever. This is how he's on stage with his little demon hat on. Okay, now that we've seen all that grossness. Okay, you ready? Now this is where it gets. I know I can't even see the comments right now, so I don't have your email with me. Oh, you're at the bakery. Okay. I'll look. You do make good peanut butter. That's good stuff. Okay. So here's where it gets even better. Okay. So now we've done all that nonsense. This is the first dude that became a chick from Germany. He thanked his mother because if it wasn't for his mother, ever since he was a young boy, believing in him that he was really a girl, then he wouldn't be there today. So I felt like that was an interesting take on life. So they're doing their whole thing, right? Now, as I showed you, hold on. I didn't mean to stop sharing my screen with y'all because there's more, but wait, there's more. So the name of the song is called Unholy. They're clearly dressed very not holy. Okay. Holy is a pure word. It's not for them devil worshipers, but they're trying to make it for them devil worshipers. Now, here's where it gets really funny. Hold on. There was one article here. Here it is. It's this tab you needed to see. Conservatives are upset. It says Sam Smith and Kim Petras unholy Grammys performance deemed satanic and evil by conservatives. Okay, hold on a minute. Every single thing about that song is satanic and evil. Every single thing about that song was satanic and evil. Every single thing about their performance was satanic and evil. The stage was on fire with flames like on the screen thing behind it. They're wearing devil horns. Everybody was a transgender, I think, except for Sam. They were all wearing like that very like that's exactly the look that they were going for. So for them to have this article out, like them conservatives are hating on them. They literally just said I mean, there's nothing about that video. There's nothing about that song. There's zero redeeming qualities to say maybe we were too harsh. Like, you guys know me, I'm a silver lining person. There was zero silver lining to say maybe we judged them a little too harshly. No, all of it was just awful, just absolutely wretchedly gross, awful. Like how can okay, so you guys know this. I used to bartend at a bar that's a rock bar that does a lot of death metal stuff and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And they would always laugh. When I first got there, they thought that I was going to be like all mean to them and everything because I was a Christian. And they were like, hey, you actually treat us with respect. And I was like, well, that's because Jesus would tell me to treat you with respect. And if I'm mean to you, then I'd never be able to show you the love of Jesus. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but if I was mean to you, and they knew, like, I did not like those nights. And the whole entire time, like, this is true story. The whole entire time I was bartending, I had a smile on my face and I treated everybody respectfully. And the entire night I would just pray from the time I walked through the door until, like the entire night. And they would never have one incident. Now, the former owners used to say that whenever those nights would happen, that they would always have tons of problems. They'd have to call the cops and yada, yada, yada. But then when I was there, I was praying the whole time and they didn't have any problems. Well, then I ended up going on vacation one time, and they had one of those death metal nights, or blood metal. That's blood metal, excuse me. They had a blood metal night scheduled, and so they had problems that night. And they're like, I don't know what you're doing, because they're religious people, but they're not Christian religious. Does that make sense? And so they're like, I don't know what you would, I don't know what it was about it when you were here, but like there was a big difference between when you're here and when you're not here. And so when I came home, because like I would tell them things like this and they'd be like, whatever. But then they were like, I could tell like a huge difference when you weren't here and we did have problems and, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, the only thing that was different is that I was there praying the whole time. Like I was singing hymns. Like I wasn't even singing like new praise music. Like I'm just singing hymns. I'm singing the old rugged cross and I'm praying that God will transform them. That maybe I might be the only Christian that they would see, and that I am possibly the worst Christian that they could ever see because I'm not a pure reflection of Christ, but I try. And later I had people come to me and they'd be like, hey, I'm actually like, I appreciate that you were here. Like, I appreciate that you treated people with respect. Like, I just like the tune. And I'm like, well, I'm going to need to pray against it with you because this is a demonic tune. This is that. But I love that you love Jesus enough to come to me and say, hey, thank you for doing this. So like we as Christians have a hard time realizing that not everybody is at the same place. We do. We really do. And one of the things that I'll never forget this, and I don't know why this is happening, but it's happening. God does this to me sometimes. When I was bartending one time, I was teaching vacation Bible school. Like our pastors knew that I was working there, what type of music was there. In fact, funny enough, we had a Christian metal group that some of the members from the church at the time were a part of, and they had actually played at that bar a couple of times. There's a whole Christian underground that plays at death metal bars and rock and metal bars and all that kind of stuff. Like, educate yourself a little bit because it's a thing and people are coming to Christ through it, and it's beautiful. So anyway, so we're at this. I was at Vacation Bible School. I had been teaching. Like, one of my most favorite things to ever teach on is Acts chapter 2. Like, that is just, I love it. I love it because you get to finally fully see the Holy Spirit at work. Like, it's one of my favorite passages. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I come in and I'm a few minutes late and I'm always like the first person there. Like, I'm opening up and da-da-da. Well, of course, they knew I was going to be late because I was teaching Vacation Bible School. I get there and we call them bar rats. If anybody's been in the bar industry, this is a thing. Whether it's an upstanding bar or it's not, everyone who, the people who are there every day, you just call them bar rats because that's where they're at. And so he goes, Sandy, you kind of seem like there's something a little different going on with you tonight. Like, what's going on? Like, you're not usually like this upbeat. Like, you're obnoxiously upbeat, but this is like another level. And I was just like, I don't know. I'm in a really good mood. And I was in a good mood. Like, it was one of my favorite scriptures that I got to teach. I had a really great time with this group of young people because I taught the sixth graders, right? So I had like that middle group, right? And I had about, I think I had 25 kids that night. And I got to get on a level with some of them that they had never been at. I got to help break some chains with them. You know what I'm talking about? So anyway, so it was a good night. And then what was even more exciting is I had a visiting church from Alabama was there doing their, mission trip and whatever. And I got to have a really good, deep conversation with their pastor staff. Anyway, so it was good stuff. Like, it was just really just God-centered, like, good stuff, right? So I get to this bar and I'm bouncing all over the place. And like I said, my friend believes, she's kind of one of those that kind of believes in everything just to kind of make sure everything is covered. And so she was like, just ignore her. It's her Jesus juice. And I stopped and I just started laughing. And I was like, actually, that's exactly what it is. It is my Jesus juice. And he's like, what? And he goes, I mean, I guess I kind of knew you were, a church kind, but I didn't think you were like one of those kind of church kinds. And I was like, well, what do you mean by one of those kind of church kinds? And he's like, just one who's always like, I don't know. I just didn't see you being that. I guess it makes sense though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I pray and like I have a crucifix and I, do that before I leave or whatever for the day. And that's about it. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, but yeah, that's kind of cool, I guess. And I said, yeah. I said, well, when was the last time you were at church? And he goes, Sandy, I'm not going to church. And I said, well, I guess that's kind of cool that you have your crucifix thing. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you had time with God? Like, not just a ritual, but time with God. And he's like, well, I haven't really, that's not really my thing. And I said, well, that's true. It may not be, but that's fine. I said, let me ask you this. I said, if he goes, I just didn't expect somebody like you to be in a place like this. And I said, well, my Jesus would have come here to see you because he knows that you're not going to come to a church to see him. Is that fair to say? And he just he was like, what? And I said, would you go to a church? And he goes, not on your life. And I started laughing and I said, it's funny. My Jesus kind of knew that. And then I was able to open up a whole awesome conversation with him. That didn't happen overnight, folks. That took 6 months to build that kind of relationship with him that I could have a conversation about Jesus with. And the coolest part was he approached me about it. We get into this bubble. Now, I'm not encouraging that crap that was on television last night by any stretch of the imagination. But we get into this routine or this rut or this holier than thou mentality of, well, I know better, so everyone else should know better also. And that's not who Jesus is. If he was, he wouldn't have gone to the tax collector's house. He wouldn't have called him out. He's a pretty awesome dynamic Jesus. He's a pretty awesome dynamic God. He's a pretty awesome dynamic Holy Spirit. And he always has a way of finding us where we need to be found, especially when them judgy churchgoers ain't going to go there. Now, that's not to cast stones on anybody because you guys know me. That's not who I am. But naturally, that group was not trying to represent Jesus at all. They were representing something that's evil. And all of those people that I was referencing just a minute ago that appreciated the blood medal and like loved the art of it and loved the blood and the crucifixes and the pentagrams and all that, they were very quick to say that this is evil and that they love evil. Like that world is there, folks. The problem is that when we were growing up, that was not on television for full display. When we were growing up, we thought, oh, there's only one or two that are like that. And they're like, eee. But here's the really sad and scary truth that we don't want to talk about is that when we have these people, when we have these moments that we had on the Grammys last night, we forget that there's people that need to be praying to stop this. Not just the evil in the world because it's inherent and blah, blah, blah. It is. All of that is true. Some of the kindest people that I have ever met with the most generous hearts are wearing pentagrams. People who have little girls and Girl Scouts. People who are teaching at schools. They're not subscribing to all of the rhetoric that is happening. But these are people who are living regular lives and who dwell among you. And we have to be praying for them. We have to be praying for them deeply. Because just where us Christians get to say we have generations of faith, they also can say the same thing. It's a different faith. It's the bad side of our faith because if you know anything, there's Jesus and then there's the devil. And the devil's after them just as much as Jesus is. But the devil's a little bit more conniving and scheming in his ways of doing it. But we forget those things. What we need to do now, every single time we see this unholy nonsense and rhetoric and the Grammy, and it was disgusting, like having to listen to so many speeches thanking the LGBTQ community. Or what did they, gender alternative lifestyles. That was another favorite buzzword of mine from last night. We have to just say, God, I got to pray for these people. Like it's laughable. I mean, there was many moments last night that I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Is this on television? Are you freaking kidding me? Is this what's happening right now? Like I had plenty of those moments. But I stopped and prayed. We have to stop and pray for these people, folks. Don't be all pious about it, because God hates a haughty prayer. He absolutely hates it. That's why he said, he said to go and hide yourself in your room and pray. Don't be like the Pharisees on the street corners praying. It's not because he doesn't want us praying on the streets corners. It's because he doesn't want us saying, look at me, I'm so much better than that sinner over there. That's why God loves me more, because I am not like that sinner. That one, you see that guy right there? I'm not like that sinner. So that's why God loves me more. No, that's not who our God is. That's not who our Jesus is. You can't have a true knowledge of who he is and think that. You can't. Because that's not who my Jesus is. He is love to those who are unlovable. He is peace to those who have known no peace. He is hope. He is joy. And he came to shake the foundation, folks. My favorite, we've talked about it a little bit on the show, and we've put it in context of politicians, but we got to put it in context of us too. It says, in moments like this, I like to ask myself, what would Jesus do? And we think it's so beautiful and noble. And like, that's my inner chi moment of being like, I should just be a peaceful, happy warrior. But we forgot that he's flipping tables. He's looking people in the face going, I dare you. Like, go ahead and try something and see what happens to you. Like, I'd like to see you do it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, like, people, they like to paint these pictures of him just being some meek and humble and just like, moment, which he is. He is that peace. He is also that I'm about to slap the taste up out your mouth moment. He was, look, Ashley always loves it when I do my mama finger. Jesus was a walking mama finger. Right? He was a walking mama finger. When he was flipping tables, he was a walking mama finger. When they threw that whore in front of him, he was a walking mama finger. He said, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit down for a minute. And he got him a little stick. I do this as a mom. Like, I was with Jesus in this moment. As a mom, I hear you, okay? Jesus sat down with a stick. And he started drawing in the sand. Or in the dirt, in the road. And he'd say, you know what? I mean, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. Okay. All I'm going to tell you is if you ain't got no sin in your life, you go right ahead. Do what you need to do. Okay. I'm gonna stand right here. See, this is me, Jesus. I'm gonna stand right here. I ain't even going to look at y'all anymore. I ain't even going to look at you. I'm just going to draw on the sand a little bit. Now, we don't know formally what Jesus wrote in the sand. But knowing Jesus' nature, it was probably like adultery, lust, thief, money laundering, cocaine parties, whatever, right? He just writing stuff down, or maybe he was drawing like stick figures. You ever do that? Like when you just mad? Jesus will lay the smack down on your candy booty. Jesus was not Jesus wanted to make things right. Jesus was the walking picture of grace. We talk about all these things that moms are supposed to be, but if you really stop and look at it, like moms are supposed to be like Jesus, which I mean we're all supposed to be like Jesus. But when you stop and you think about it, like a true good mother is just like Jesus. Like she's gonna slap you down when you need it, but she also gonna pick you up, and she also gonna be like, you know what? I'm just gonna let you decide. You go ahead and do what's best. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna love you either way. You go ahead and do whatever you think is best. I'm gonna sit here. I'm just gonna doodle for a minute while you're making your choices. Have you ever done that? Oh, the look on your children's face is priceless. Now, I will say in fairness, when I did those actions to my children, like I wasn't like thinking I'm being like Jesus right now. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I was not thinking those moments. I was just thinking, if I touch you, if I look at you, I'm gonna kill you. So I'm gonna do this over here, and I'm gonna let you make your choices. Okay. Now, in fairness, around my house, it's usually them trying to get out of doing chores. In fairness, I have really good boys. That little tiny girl, though, she gonna be the one that breaks me. Just so we're clear on this. But that's what being Jesus is really like. Think about it. That's like a mom a Wednesday moment that you guys that don't watch on Wednesdays you just had with us. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, not sorry. We got to love people where they're at. And we have to learn to love actually like Jesus, not like this preconceived notion of what we think. There was a couple weeks ago, the pastor of the church that we've been attending, which I do enjoy. He had made a statement. He was talking about Joseph. In the coat of many colors, Joseph the dreamer and all that kind of stuff, right? That Joseph. And he was talking, I went flipping back and forth through the scriptures, $5 a month to get Charlotte a salad. I was flipping through the scriptures when he was doing it. And then I pulled up my phone app and I'm like looking at different variations of the different, so I always use a new NIV version because I'm basic white chick. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But I'm also a student, so I know how to, I'm very theological, whether people like it or not. So I was looking through the other translations and whatever. And he was painting the narrative that Joseph was very haughty towards his brothers. Not a narrative I had heard before. The narrative I had always heard, and honestly, the narrative that I still kind of hold true to is that he was of good nature and he really didn't know that his brothers hated him because his dad shielded him from it. That's my 2 cents on it. I think that he really was not being haughty with his brothers when he was telling them about the dream. I think that he was just some mama's boy, or in mama and daddy's boy, who, just kind of was always like, oh, it's okay, honey, let's do this instead. Okay, mom. And then, hey, quit being into your brother. And then walk away, right? Like that was always the perception that I had. But then he gave, the pastor gave this other perception of, well, he was haughty. His brothers hated him because not only was he the favorite, but he always shoved it in their faces. And if you look at Joseph's nature throughout, I say his nature, but if you look at his stuff throughout Scripture in that time frame from when he gets thrown in the hole and sold by his brothers to when he's now standing over top of Egypt. He's like, hey, things had to happen this way for a reason. And he also made the statement that the dream that he had in Scripture does not say that it was from God. He just said that I had a dream. And I'm like, I can see some of this. I can respect some of his points of view on some of this, but in the same breath, like he wouldn't have been so hands off, if you will, with Potiphar's wife had he not had this kind of countenance about him that was like, I got to do the right thing here. Like, I just know that God's going to bless me if I do the right thing here. So I'm going to have to say, break the wrist and walk away. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he oversaw what his father did with his father so much that he had a different level of respect for the Potiphar and the Potiphar's wife than he would have if he was just some haughty jackwagon kid. Was there a little bit of both? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I do know. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a commercial break. I just got an email. David Summerall is going to be with us in just a little while. He just texted me to give him just a couple more minutes. I think Walter may have been eaten by an alligator. I don't know where he has gone to. And Trennis is supposed to be on also, but he said I may not be able to be on for the whole time. And I'm like, that's cool, just whenever you can. So they'll be with us in just a bit. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And then We'll come right back. How does that sound? Will that work for everybody? Oh gosh, we also have to have a Santos moment. All right, we'll have a Santos moment when we come back. All right, I'll be right back. Hey, y'all, a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, of course, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget, Tea Party tonight, Citizens Grill, Conroe. Be there, be square, 6 p.m. I'll see you there. If you can't physically be there, although you should try, you don't want to miss out being with all those amazing patriots. I know I don't. Make sure that you go to texasfullyloaded.com. Make sure you go to our YouTube page. Make sure you go to the Facebook page. Make sure you go to the Montgomery County Tea Party Facebook page. Go to the Twitter page. I'm giving you options here, folks. I'm giving you options so that you can watch it, because that's what we do here. We take care of our sponsors. Of course, we couldn't take care of our sponsors without our sponsors taking care of us. So it's a beautiful situation. Of course, Skyline Companies, our dear friend Justin, thank you so much for everything that you do. We love you to pieces. If you have any logistical needs or any diesel mechanic needs or anything in between, even if you just need a friend, call our dear friend Justin. He'll take good care of you. If you can't find his information on social media, on Facebook, then make sure you call me or email me. And here's my number. Call me maybe. Okay. But don't call him maybe. Call him. You want him on your side. If you're interested in becoming a commercial sponsor for Texas Fully Loaded, please let me know. Go to Sandra. Email me at sandra@texasfullyloaded.com or go to texasfullyloaded.com and reach out to one of us that way or see us in person. We'd love to see you guys. And I get super excited when people come up and they're like, hey, I watch your show all the time. Oh my gosh, it's so huge. It's awkward when it's in the bathroom at places, but it happens and it's okay because girl talk happens in the bathroom. If you just want to give, please go to texasfullyloaded.com, click on hashtag We the People Work, and we greatly appreciate you. I also have those little QR code-y things for the Cash App and for the, what was the other one that we're fancy now? We have Cash App, I don't know, some other thing. And of course, PayPal. We also take checks. We take bartering items. We'll take, the guns that you lost in a fishing accident. Just kidding. We'll take an RV. We'll take property. Whatever you want to get. We're not picky around here. Miss Patty, as you guys know, is on Tibbs Island, and she and Simon are going back and forth about don't forget $5 to hashtag free Pookie. But Simon has now turned it into the salad campaign for Charlotte because she loves to eat lettuce. So, and Miss Patty is also on board. I have my friend David Summerall here with us. We'll have our Santos moment later. David's able to pop on. We have some serious stuff that we have to talk about. I want to say hi. Thanks for joining us.
It's hard to be serious when you have an opener like that, though. I'm just having such a good time kicking back and relaxing for a minute. No work, just fun. It's good stuff.
You know what? We like to be funny on this show. Sometimes it's serious, but actually it's a healthy dose of both because you have to have that balance in life, right?
Absolutely.
Especially when people like you and us, we have to deal with such heavy subjects all of the time. We have to find those moments to laugh. And every once in a while, we have a breakout show, never planned, where we literally just come on this show and freaking laugh until we cry.
You should call me next time. We'll do that. I'm ready.
Absolutely. You know what? Trinus got a hold of one of those shows the very first time he was on our show.
Oh my gosh.
We literally were laughing until we were crying. It was half the time it's like a locker room on this show, and we're okay with that.
Oh, that's great. I'm killing this green screen looking thing back here. I can't stand this stuff. Ugh.
You know what? I had tried to do one, but then like half of my face was blurred also. It was dumb.
Yeah, it wants to give me hair or something. I'm like, no, don't give me hair. I don't need hair.
The people won't know who I am.
No. Grow it back. The feds can't find me. I have to shave this stuff off and put some up here. And they say, where'd he go?
What is this? What Trinus is like Beetlejuice. We said his name too many times, and then all of a sudden his screen pops up in my back studio here, and I'm like, what in the actual what?
You may be trying to jump in. Oh my gosh, he must have been listening. His things went off there in his ears.
I was just telling David about how the last time you were on our show, it was one of those shows where we ended up laughing more than we actually accomplished anything, I think. And that happens on Texas Fully Loaded from time to time.
It was the best interview ever, actually.
The interview where you interviewed yourself because we lost connection at the end.
I'll never forget the one of the things that popped up. It said greatest filibuster in history.
You can do it, brother. I know you, man. You can do it, Trent.
Oh man, I had to go raid a new hat out of our hat selection there.
Oh, check it.
Nice. Hey, I could have used one of those this morning. Thanks, because I don't know what's happening with the lighting in here, but this is not good.
Man. I tell you,
the lighting. We're gonna have to get one for David.
Get that reflection, the glare. The glare keeps. Hey, kid, put something on there. Here, I got my hat right over here.
Dang it! I'm gonna have to go out to my car and go digging for a hat.
There you go. Got the tail.
That's way more appropriate.
Got the tail and everything, bro. I'm ready.
Dang it.
178 man defendants that sent 7,000.
Good stuff. The orange one around here too. My orange beanie for DC.
See there.
Oh, you know what? I have a beanie. I should have put a beanie.
Yeah, yellow's my color, so you gotta get your own. Everybody's gotta.
You can find us. That's for sure.
Man, that's how we could find you in all of those videos. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
So how are you guys doing? I love it. Is it hunting season? We won't say what we're hunting.
FBI thinks it is.
I thought he was going to say he was hunting the FBI.
Hey,
I
easy there.
also was expecting that.
I've been hunting the FBI so that I can deliver to them the truth.
Yes.
They don't want to hear it for some reason.
No, look, there's some good guys out there in the FBI. I'm glad they stay. Originally I thought everybody should get out.
2 of them.
I met 2. Anyways, the person that I know 2.
Maybe it's the same 2 I met. There may be 4 good guys in the FBI.
10, too much.
Anyway, look, not everybody wants to be doing what they're doing, and I'm glad they stay there, because if not, who's going to be in the gap when, things become ugly, So I'm glad that that's where the chain of command will break down, when there's good people in the FBI. So they're not going to do, I really don't think they'll do these unlawful, heinous things. I think they've probably been pushed to their limit with January 6th already. You've already seen people refuse to do more. I think that was a great testament. Think about this. Remember Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller?
Of course, everybody remembers Lieutenant.
We just had coffee yesterday.
Tell him who he is.
So when they pulled out of Afghanistan and our troops died over there because of the idiotic maneuver that Biden pulled to pull out, Lieutenant Colonel Scheller is the guy you saw come out in uniform and speak out against that, and then they threw him in the brig.
Yeah.
So that's Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller. I still talk to him. Great guy. Great American. He set everything aside. He knew what he was facing for doing what he was doing, and he did it in uniform. And he came out and spoke out against it because people died.
Yeah.
And that was what it took. I mean, a guy like that stood up and said that. Of course, he's out of the military. He's done. But I'm sure there was probably a dishonorable discharge. I'm not remember. It shouldn't be by any stretch of the imagination. Hopefully, when we get things straightened out in our military, a man like that will get his benefits and what he's deserved. He gave 17 years of his life, I believe, to the military, if I have it correct. But at any rate, that's Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller. So how fast we forget the names of our heroes, but we can sure remember our enemies long. And so I think he's always been one of my heroes in this movement, because he came out and did something. He literally went to the brig. He, went through loss. I mean, it was a terrible occurrence. I mean, things really went poorly for him, but he stood up and did the right thing. He called out the Biden administration for what they did that cost the life of 12 or 13 servicemen and women that we lost in that Afghanistan debacle. Not to mention the, what is it, billion something dollars worth of military equipment that we just handed over. Oh, but don't worry, we ripped the wires out. They'll never be able to fix that helicopter because we ripped the wires out in the guidance system. Oh, like we can't get another one of those. They can buy everything else. We've got nuclear arms being traded on the black market. They could never possibly get more wires. And I mean, it's stupid. And all they got to do is call one and get the codes for the wiring.
I need a new suitcase.
That doesn't happen.
I mean, how long is it before they're trading our nukes on Amazon, or Craigslist? I can get a small arms detonation device here on Craigslist.
Mine with Bitcoin.
Well, as you should.
Get my Bitcoin back because the freaking idiots at the FBI won't give me my stuff back. Hey, FBI, if you're wondering this, my name is Trennis Evans. My case has been adjudicated. I want my radios, my cell phones, my children's cell phones, my laptops. Can I have my stuff back now, please? It's already been found out that I was guilty of a misdemeanor, that I wasn't trying to overthrow the government, that I paraded and picketed, and what else did I do? I acted up inside the sacred temple. I defiled the temple by my mere presence. The king has already decreed what that means.
You were too strong. Your personality was too strong.
Well, thank God that I wasn't drawn and quartered by the king on the,
disemboweled.
Right. No shit. Right.
Yeah.
Hey, the day's still young.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, give them time.
The day is still young.
Don't worry. I'm marching into the belly of the beast again this week. I'll be there to just do some disemboweling of my own, figuratively, of course. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to my visit to DC this week. So
I bet. Hey, so I want to. I hate to break the fun, but we have to, because not everybody is on the same level that we are. I know. We can. You know what? We have time that we can bring it back.
Oh,
around.
This is a show. This is a Zoom meeting.
Oh, I thought you were just. Oh, you're recording.
No, that's when we have shots. That. Anyway.
Shot.
I have to clarify that also.
Amen.
Oh my gosh. I mentioned the Grammys earlier, and somebody like absolutely lost their mind on their post on my
Fully
my
loaded.
and I'm like, hold on a second, like let me have some clarity for a second.
Yeah.
Number one, my children were nowhere around. Number two, I needed to see, like, people forget, like, we have to see what we're fighting against sometimes. We get lost in our own bubbles, and we're just like, la-di-da-di-da. All of my friends are conservative. There's nothing bad happening.
You're just waiting for signals from their influencer friends to give them their.
I'm glad you said. I'm glad you said we. Let's define we who are fighting, because let's get into the reality of it. I mean, Sandra, I know you're a fighter. You've been fighting for a long time. David, he's ancient. He's been fighting for a really long time.
A lot older than I look.
I'm nowhere near as old as David, just so you know.
Exactly.
Doesn't that make you feel good when you get to say that? Things like that?
But I still taught him everything he knows, so it works out.
We have to respect our elders, Sandra. Remember, do we need to call you Mr. Summerall?
No, just DeGeneral is fine. Instead of degenerate, DeGeneral.
DeGeneral. I like it.
Yeah, David actually got the jump on that one the other night. He used that the other night. I was like, oh, that's good.
That's a good one.
Hey, Miss Patty's making us all feel better and said that she's older than all of us. So
yay! Finally, thank you, Patty. I appreciate that so much. I get tired of being the old guy in the room.
Miss Patty, you should be fighting harder than us because you have less to lose.
Oh my gosh!
Man, they just let anybody on this show. What in the actual crap is happening here?
What's happening, kids?
Walter West, what's up, buddy?
We start talking about degenerates and everything else, and then he just pops. It's like
the
genie in the bottle.
Trinus 3 times, and I appeared. We said DeGeneral 3 times, and look who showed up.
It's never been the general. It's always been the general's daughter.
Oh, Miss Patty's not happy with your angle, Walter.
Well, you know what my angle is.
Walter, you're going to need to adjust.
He said, I got no hands left. Who's driving? Did Jesus take the wheel? She almost spit her drink. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. That's my gift. I just want you to know it come out your nose, I win. If it comes out your nose, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. Stop.
Loaded.
If you die, I lose.
The worst one. The worst one.
The phone around here ringing.
I win.
It's that aloe drink with like the chunks of aloe.
Oh wait, look who it is. Look.
Your
Oh
brother.
shoot! Put him on.
It's so funny.
You're on Texas Fully Loaded with me, Sandra Witten, Walter West, David Summerall, and some fed, and at least one fed.
At
At least one fed at this moment.
Dude, we're both here. Now there's three.
Well, there's probably a Brit. What they do is they use Brit guys, and then they can say that it wasn't, U.S. monitoring, but then they send the report back because they're sharing it. The problem's been a lot of times we end up with they spill their beer because they can't hold it very well in the equipment. You'll end up getting your line cut off or get staticky or some other shit. So that's the way it is.
Is that 1-0?
Yeah.
It is.
Who in the world is that?
Yep.
Gang's all here.
Good.
They tried to kill me, Wano. Hold on a minute.
We tried to drown her a minute ago. It was kind of funny.
Well, last time I was on this show, I caught Sandra eating and inhaling a taco in her bathrobe, having no idea that she was in front of her computer with her connection open. And
Oh my God.
it's really awesome. So then David almost just got her to spew her Sprite through her nose, which was awesome.
Oh, it's a lumpy aloe drink. It's a lumpy
It
aloe
was
drink.
a lumpy aloe drink. That's even worse because now there's chunks involved.
Oh my God.
This is bad news,
Oh
fans,
my
right now.
That's what she said.
Oh God.
Oh my Lord.
So wait a
This,
second.
this show
So
needs some
now
Jesus.
you guys are ready to go testify for the Senate. You're all wired up. You're all juiced up. Yeah, but your testimony will actually work. But that's last year because that's when Democrats were running it. and they'd have thought you were very coherent if you're popping, coke through your nose or something like that. At this point, we're coming into a different era. You're going to have to clean your act up, get a washcloth out, some hairspray and like that, because you're going to need to look a little more Republican on this one.
You're gonna have to shave during this.
Yeah, don't say that around me. I'm not shaving for the time being.
I'm just looking forward to the Great Return tour, Trinus Evans back to the Capitol. Here we go.
Taking the Capitol.
He needs to keep the gruff on his face, because then he's got that toxic masculinity look going for him. But it has to just be gruff. It can't be like full beard.
Yeah.
You got to scare him a little bit when you walk in.
I mean, even Zelensky, when he came over from Ukraine, had the T-shirt and the beard going. Okay, I'm just off the war zone. I just left the front line. I'm here to talk. I'm going right back to the front lines again. I don't need a suit. Okay.
My favorite was just off of the front line with my 20-hour flight that I could not possibly have changed my clothes at all.
On a private charter.
I'm gonna wear.
I'm sure he wasn't on Air United. I'm sure that was a private charter.
Well, I mean,
it was the reverse of Nixon taking a walk on the beach in his suit and dress shoes. Okay, waiting for the reporters to get the shot from the sandy hill of him just casually taking a walk on the beach, thinking about all the affairs of the world. So I think actually, Prentice, what you ought to do is you ought to remote in and do it with your AR-10 and the guard dogs. I've got a friend with a Doberman Pinscher he can loan you.
Wow. With a book of, you need to get the Anarchist Cookbook in the background and all that good stuff that they also, all that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Camouflage dune buggy, camouflage paint on it.
I always wanted one of those.
I'm going to go over to Ted's place. I'm going to go over to Nuge's place and go do the interview from there. Do it over from the Nuge. By the way, Ted has something to say. Something about a throbbing middle finger.
Yeah, he does. In fact, he does say something about that. People are asking who's on the phone. We have Mr. Wano Savin on the phone. Did I spell it right?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. Wasn't like an extra N or something. Okay, so that's exciting. We're excited about
3 letters.
it. So I wanted to talk to you guys. Let's give a little bit of context for just a minute. I hate to do it, but we have to. And we've only got about 25 minutes because my phone's going to die. Actually, Walter can host it until I can get back on with a battery.
Oh, God.
I know. Everyone should be concerned about so many things right now. Anyway, last week, at the end of the week, everyone's favorite Speaker of House that should not be, Kevin McCarthy, made a statement, and he was asked a question. He was asked by a reporter if he thought that the police officer who shot Ashley Babbitt did the right thing, and he said absolutely did the right thing, which essentially I heard, and maybe y'all heard something different, that bleep got what she deserved. That's what I heard when he said that. Is that a fair?
Yep.
I think that just like all people that commit crimes against children and stuff, I'm starting to wonder if we're not going to abide by our Constitution, should we just turn them over to the family members? I don't think Kevin McCarthy would fare very well with Mickey Widoff.
Yeah, his family members don't seem to like him either.
Well, I think we got to be careful too. I mean, McCarthy said that Byrd did his job. So maybe that was outlined already. Maybe that was his purpose. Maybe that was the plan the whole time. What we need to find out is, did McCarthy know about that job before January 6th? Did he know that would be carried out, that was part of the plan, or what? Because he said it so nonchalant. Hey, dude, he was doing his job. So who hired him to do it? So are you saying that from now on, Capitol Police's job is just to shoot unarmed women at the Capitol? Is that their job?
Can they start with AOC?
You
Can we make a
threatening
list
her
if that's the new job description? Can we make a list?
Is that who's going to be joining Paul Gosar's new anime film now? Who was that?
Sorry.
I just felt her. I felt her chi just get all.
She fell down. I felt her tripping.
After the Capitol Police shot her.
That's what it was. Now we need to go find it on the footage.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
don't worry, they deleted that from y'all's phones. This is just another version of AOC walking around. It's a clone.
So you hear the same lies, release the 14,000 hours. It's well within their power to release the people at this point. Enough's enough. And we're seeing more of the same with the games. And it just shows that none of the representatives actually represent any of us. They don't sound like us, talk like us, walk like us, have the same values or goals as us. And every politician in America right now needs to be replaced with a J6er. I'm just saying, all J6ers fight for the right things at the right time for the right reasons, not for self. They're sacrificial. They fight tyranny. They fight for justice and freedom. They'll sit in prison if they have to for the right cause, and they're doing that right now. So all of them, and we've got thousands of J6ers that could run for these positions all over the country and replace them all. Just take them all. And if we had a campaign slogan of "We're taking the Capitol in 24 J6," yeah,
Hey, I nominate Jeremy Brown for Speaker of the House.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Yes.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Hold on a second. I got a little different way that I think this needs to be presented. And I understand the adrenaline here, but the reality is, and my movie Blood Hill, the one we did together here, guys, and the movie I did with Jennifer Mack, The Call, The Makings of the Perfect Day, we show what the crowd was. The crowd wasn't fighting for this. They were present and accounted for. They showed up to make their presence known. They were there singing, praying, being a presence as Congress was doing this vote, just like observers in a courtroom are not fighting for one side or the other, but they are present to see that justice is done and to make sure that everybody involved realizes that their actions aren't happening in a vacuum. The fight was initiated by the policing forces that were present, both those that were in uniform and those that were simulating that they were members of the crowd and were being run, operated, they're inserted into the crowd. And they had trained for several days at Camp David before they came over for this event. So it was a coordinated, covert action embedded in the crowd. And those people, as it turns out, were trying to lead, like Ray Epps and others, Love and others. They were trying to lead the crowd and direct the crowd into actions that could be construed as fighting or doing something. But the reality is, those people were present, just like the Capitol doors being opened. They were directed in there. They were, the crowd was there to be present. And they were being managed to make a certain look. I don't think that any of the true J6 people that I observed that are present in the videos or that any of you guys saw came there to do a fight. The ones that came there thinking there was going to be a fight were the ones that came there on government payroll, inserted into the crowd, trying to create a context where there would be some kind of a conflict. Americans that showed up, to 999.9% were just there to be counted, to see history, to be present, to let Congress know how they felt, because Congress was voting for who was going to be the next president without the benefit of any of the investigative information showing whether there was foreign interference. And we now know that there was. We knew then that there was because Director Radcliffe of the Office of Director of National Intelligence, who was supposed to provide that report December 18th, said on December 15th and numerous times afterwards before January 6th, there was Chinese interference in the election. That is the highest ranking intelligence gathering official in the United States Department of Homeland Security system. And he said there was Chinese interference, and then you had insubordination of several agency heads who would not provide their intelligence information as a direct insubordination of an executive order. They would not provide that information. They're the ones that need to be before congressional committees, asking them what the hell was going on. Why the hell did you think you had the right to keep that from the president?
You in a tunnel? Oh,
That's why the American people were there. You cannot let this stuff get overwritten about why everybody showed up. Everybody showed up because they were pissed, because the information about foreign interference was not being provided as they had been directed to do on December 18th, 45 days after the election. The president said everybody should show up, and we did. But we didn't show up to fight. We showed up to be counted as present and to observe justice done, and an injustice was done, and those people were attacked. We didn't attack the policing forces. That should be absolutely clear. That is what Bloody Hill is all about.
That's right.
We made the movie to show who initiated the fight. And people defending themselves after they've seen people murdered and trying to move the crowd out of the way were not doing anything wrong. They were under attack, and they had the right to try and defend themselves and to protect themselves from a malicious, evil attack that was being initiated by policing forces. Look at the kid that just got beat up there in Memphis the other day. Do you think he did anything to deserve getting killed off like that? And that's exactly the kind of behavior that was taking place with that dog pack, that wolf pack of people that trained out there at Camp David and came in and inserted themselves into the crowd. They came there to initiate a fight and control that crowd as they managed them into a fight and herded them into the Capitol. That's what congressional testimony is going to bring out, and the 14,000 hours of video is going to bring out when this Congress gets to it and those committees begin the research.
Well, if this Congress gets to it, because I just see where Kevin McCarthy is doing exactly what we all thought that he was going to do, and he played politics to get there.
Hold on 1 second. Kevin McCarthy has a very short leash on it. Those heads of those investigative committees, they're the ones that are running things. And anywhere where Kevin McCarthy starts to get in the way, his leash is going to get jerked so hard he's going to have the freaking bone out of joint. He is a proxy for Trump. Those mega guys, the 20 mega guys who forced 15 votes before McCarthy got the speakership, can bring that right back front and center, and I expect they will. I expect that before we're done, we're going to see everything stopped and McCarthy pulled off to the side more than once, taken out to the outhouse and brought back in, kicked in the ass.
So have we seen where that's happened after he made the statement about the police officer acting properly against Ashley Babbitt?
He can say anything the hell he wants. The committee will get to the truth. He'll look like a dumbass.
Well, I think he already does look like a dumbass.
He's not going to stop the committee heads from doing what they're doing. That's the whole point. What you've got to understand, just because he's the Speaker of the House doesn't mean he could shut up those committee heads doing what they do within the committee. They have got their own autonomous operation going on at this point. He can come over and make some dumbass statement. The committee is going to investigate it and actually get to the truth of the matter. And those people that go against what the facts are, history is going to make them look like a bunch of idiots. So he's trying to kiss up to a crowd that the American people are not backing anymore. And that the media fabricated this false, fake, squishy American voter mentality. Look, Trump won 2020. If you say, well, no, America elected Biden and we're a different country now. No, we aren't. Just because you have lying information deceptions that took place to put somebody in there doesn't mean it's true. And if McCarthy is kissing up to that crowd, which he is, it's a non-existent group. It's a magic act to be this center of the road, squishy, gee, I don't know. No, it isn't. Trump won. It's very clear he won. And the numbers were messed with. So who's going to win this in the end? In the end, truth and justice is going to prevail. It's going to be messy getting there. It's already been messy. But the tide's already turned. And with those committee heads and the number of them, and the fact, go out and look at the MSNBC and everything else. They're whining. It's mega people that got the committee heads of these committees, and then they're looking at things. Look, Gallagher, the representative out of Wisconsin, just started a new committee, and nothing that McCarthy could do stopped the rest of the mega people from getting a new committee to look at Chinese actions. I can't remember what they said the committee's theme is. It's Chinese interference, military risk, or whatever from it. Just set it up Friday. McCarthy didn't stop that based on what's going on with the balloon and 50 other things. Look, we're going to get into it shortly on the sale of the ability to control the internet to China by the last Congress. You think that's over? We're going to revisit it. We're going to go kick them in the ass. We're going to do it through Gallagher's committee. So a lot of stuff that got done, and the go along bullshit that's been going on for several years is about to get turned on its ear. And McCarthy is not going to own the day on that. So you cannot get fixated on McCarthy only. McCarthy is there with a very short leash on him.
So what do you think the timeline looks like on getting an investigation kicked off and then having some kind of results for the people? I mean, we've got, of course, people in harm's way that do not see the hope in the situation, and they're losing more ground on that every day because of the Congress not doing what they've said. So what are we looking like time-wise, do you think?
The way these committees work, they first have to decide what they want to look at. They ask for information from the various locations. It comes back. It may piss the hell out of people off that it takes so long, but there is a process. And you have to get the data. You can't go off half-cocked. Well, most of the people are getting wound up. Look, the tide shifted. In 2 years, the last Congress couldn't get to the truth of it because they didn't want to hear the truth, but they also were not able to perfect what they had started. They weren't able to get the indictment on Trump because they got messed with a year ago. I've talked about that previously, but I won't go into detail right now. And it screwed off their timing. There in Congress, they got about 3 months out of phase because of something that happened last year in the Christmas period just before January 6th. And they didn't get to the committee stuff that they wanted to do quick enough, and they missed their moment. Now the tide has turned. This committee has already said we're going to release 14,000 hours. Now they're not probably going to release it tomorrow or the next day, but somewhere over the next many months, that's going to become available. All of these reports are going to come in. They're going to ask some of the agency heads, who was training all those people over at Camp David? Who authorized them to use the facility? What was the basis? Was it Homeland Security? What budget did that come out of? Those things are going to take many long months. It's just the way it is. It's not a 5-minute process. You go into courts, these cases take years to work through because somebody requests information, somebody objects against it, judge has to make a decision, they make another objection. Next thing you know, you finally get it. I got a case right now that's been going on for 10 years, but the sweet spot in it is it's numerous cases. It's all coming to a head, and the guy that's at the core of this thing out of California, Girardi, just got arrested on Friday. That's going to be one of the biggest cases in American history. because that's going back to the Bar Association in California. It's going to get to the governor. It's going to get to Schiff. It's going to get to a bunch of Hollywood people. It's going to get to all sorts of issues with stealing properties and stealing companies and insurance money. Nobody has any idea where that's all going. But the reason that it just happened is because you had a change with the tide going from power and control and protection on the congressional side to now the investigating committees. The judicial oversight is coming, and the people involved in the court system realize they don't want to be counted on the wrong side of history with what's about to come. Getting a Republican-controlled Congress is the move in this, and Republican mega committee heads, that's the key. They know that the bullshit's about to stop, and this information is going to get looked at. But it's not going to get looked at in 5 days. It's going to take all summer and all fall, and some of this that needs to be addressed. This Congress somewhere is probably going to get balls and decide to take control of the D.C. courts. When they take control of the D.C. courts, it's game over. This whole January 6th thing is about a clique of D.C. courts that are outside of the rest of the judicial system acting in bizarre, asinine ways. This Congress, because of the way that the law is written, can take control exclusively of the D.C. courts, including releasing those prisoners, putting them on bail, so that they can prepare their cases. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. But it's testimony like what you're going to do, Trennis, and others, that's going to show the congressmen that they need to intercept this and get it back under control. They're being tried as under Patriot Act laws, and they were not terrorists within the definition truly of the Patriot Act. We're going to get it under control. It's not going to be in a day or two, but it's coming under control. And even talking as though this Congress is a victim of the politicization that has been going on for the last couple of years doesn't do justice to what you just saw happen in taking control of the committees. Those committees are everything. Who heads them? Who gets to be on them? Okay, Schiff, Swalwell, and a half a dozen other of these monsters are not on those committees. They don't get to see the investigative data and leak it out to the media. They are out. So it's a new sheriff in town. Let them work, and don't be ready to jump down their throat as though they're the last crew, because they aren't.
Well, it's good to know.
No, it's definitely good to know, but it's also still our responsibility to make sure that they are doing their part, not just from Trump's side, but from the American people's side, because we have to realize that the torch is going to have to be picked up at some point from we the people. That's why we're we the people work
the
here.
Torch. Which one?
Tomato, both.
Something about tar and feathers or something. I don't know.
Can't ever get that straight.
You can never get that straight.
The brown wire or the red? I can never remember which color wire was it?
One. What,
It was
another wire.
No. I always
It was
put them
blue.
all together, bind them all together. Just blow the thing, fuck it up.
Just twist them all up.
We'll figure out where the pieces went later.
So
I never get close enough. I just put them together and let her blow.
That'll do. That'll do.
All right. Hey, you guys, I love you guys. I got to talk to Juan real quick. I'm glad you guys got Juan to drop some wisdom and some notes there. I got a couple of things to do. Paint. David's definitely ready to do some painting. So,
No, we appreciate you. Hey, I'll give you a call. I got to drive to Macon a little bit. I'll give you a call this afternoon.
Just so you know, I'm going to Congress. I want to paint the town red.
Hey, it's been informative and fun. We've had a good time over here.
That's what we do. That is all that we do here on Texas Fully Loaded. We're informative and fun, and gosh darn it, we're just good people.
I know.
That's
just remember when it's time for a party, be ready to paint the town red.
Yes.
There you go, brother.
All right, Trennis. We'll yell at you later. Bye. So, yeah, so that in a nutshell, well, that was a unexpected surprise having Wano there with us. So, kind of tell us, we've had Triniss on before, so of course we know a little bit more about what he does. Tell us a little bit about stophate.com. Stop hate, not stop the hate, not anything else, just stophate.com.
Yeah, you don't want to do that other one. Yeah.
You've actually been around for a long time. I believe that you did I hear correctly since when Rodney King happened?
Yes. Yeah.
So you've been around for a minute.
Yeah. I started when my wife was pregnant with my son, and I thought, man, I can't bring a kid into a world like this without trying to do something. Even back then, when you start looking at Reginald Denny getting his head caved in with a brick, and people just running crazy in the streets and thinking this is all over a little bitty piece of video that the media let slip out, and they painted this whole narrative about police abuse. And then when they were acquitted, everybody went nuts. Well, what do you think is going to happen now if some of these police get acquitted for the murders of these civilians that were there to peacefully protest? Same things can happen. And these are the test marketing. So, yeah, for 30 years, this whole stop hate thing. And if nothing else, I've just tried to protect the brand. Not very well, I guess. Everybody has taken those two words and made it look leftist all over. But honestly, we're the originals, and they ruined it after we got it to try to, I've had the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, try to buy it. MTV looked at it. Walmart looked. These people have tried to, through the years, acquire this from me to use for their purposes. And, I'm not going to let anything like that happen either. But, we did the demand free speech rallies all over the country for the Trump era, trying to get people to look at censorship and being banned and deplatformed and, sound the alarm and get Trump's attention and the Congress and Senate, everything. But, we did several rallies around the country. Antifa BLM would, show up to counter. And we did a lot of, I believe, groundbreaking work in that field. And then the Stop the Steal rallies came up. Same crew, same people, same friends involved. You know how this goes, and the networking and all. So I just kind of went to take over the Texas rallies, do the ones down in Austin at the Capitol for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then when DC time came, I was done. I was like, no, I'm not going. I'm tired. I'm burned out. I've been to Austin every weekend and Dallas for a couple of times, and I'm not going to go. And everybody stayed on me, and my wife got on me, and God put it on my heart that I needed to be there. So I threw a little film crew, some friends, and we said, let's go document what happens. Let's at least go catch video. I'm not the guy that owns a Trump hat or a Trump shirt. I'm not that guy. I don't worship men. And I've always liked the job that he did. I haven't always liked the personality. I get that. That's not what politics is about, right? So he did some good things, and I was appreciative of that. But at the same time, I did not go for Trump. I did not go for COVID. I did not go for mask. I didn't go for business shutdown. I didn't go for anything but to really document history and to see such a big event. And it just turns out that, we got to the gates before anyone else. Not anyone, but, there may have been a couple of dozen people against the front gate when we got there before Trump was finished speaking. So we caught all that on video. We got Ray Epps standing there. We got the first gate breach, the little second one with the 5 cops that everybody thinks is the first gate breach. It was the second gate breach. And, the little details, but to see there and experience. And then, everybody spread out on my crew, and we had guys, that were filming from different locations, different areas, and they caught some of the murders, some of the deaths on the day. And that's the way God works. And then I had an opportunity to put a film together last year in the beginning of the year. Right after January 6th for an event, June 5th. So we got this film, this little 37-minute documentary put together before then with our video, our friends' video, what we could get from the public. It's called Writing History, RIGHTING. It's right there on stophate.com. And, it's everything we've done is free. It's all out of my pocket, whatever. I'm a carpenter, and I'm not a media guy. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a professional. I'm not a college guy, like all that stuff. I'm just a carpenter. But, I made myself available, I guess, and God uses people that put themselves, in that position to be used, I guess. And so here we sit. But that first documentary, I believe, we got a little bit of it wrong, but for the most part, I believe that it was the most accurate and well documenting film of the day, because it's chronological. It's 37 minutes, all in order. And you just kind of see what the people saw from multiple screens. So it kind of takes you there. It makes it busy and hard to follow and hard to understand. It's kind of a study film, but it kind of brings those same emotions that I'm frustrated. I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to see what's going on. and then it'll focus on some of the scenes, and it's very graphic. So warning label, you're going to see death, you're going to see a lot of violence, a lot of anger from the people. But with putting that film out, the lawyers came and said, David, you know more about J6 than most people, and they hired me to be an investigator for them, for their clients. And I work for a handful of attorneys now. And so I can see the 14,000 hours of video. I've been digging through that for a year plus. So it's just a matter of trying to help these people with their cases, document where they went, what they've done, and what they didn't do, mainly because they're accused of doing a lot of things that just aren't true. So that's been an interesting journey through that video evidence, the government's video evidence, and then being able to compare that to what we have from the public. So just so people know, yeah, the 14,000 hours is important because it's the government's viewpoint, their angle, so to speak. But the public's video is that much more important because by and far it comes with sound. A lot of that government CCT footage doesn't even have sound. You can't hear what the crowd's saying or doing or anything. It's like when the select committee and the reporters all show those scenes of the violence at the mouth of the West Tunnel where Roseanne was killed. They kill the volume and let the reporter talk over that instead of listening to the people say, you effing killed her. You did this. Why wouldn't you stop? You did this. You murdered her. This is on you. And so when they do these things, man, it's to further that narrative. And all we've tried to do from day one is expose the truth. When HBO puts a piece out, we put a counterpiece. When New York Times puts a piece out, we do a counterpiece. We did that first documentary, Writing History. We did the second one, Bloody Hill. We brought 107 and Trennis Evans both speak in this. It's the three of us giving our knowledge of what we've learned and gained over the last year and a half at that point, I guess. And it's a good film. I mean, it shows a lot of the video, but the first one was chronological. This one's more of a, just a opinion piece based on factual evidence and video to prove it. But you know how that is. We're not journalists. We just had an experience and we were telling people about it. So it's good to do. And we're helping the J6 people, like the journalists pretty much came to us after it happened and said, you're the guy that's helping and we can't work. We're journalists and we're in trouble. We're looking at jail time. And they've actively joined us to help fight for their own freedom. I mean, and the freedom of everyone else. But that's the position that everybody's in. We've got a lot of good articles on stophate.com, a lot of video clips. We've got some videographers. And, we need more help doing that stuff too. I'm a carpenter. I pay for everything that I can. And we get a little bit of help from people, but not enough to write home about most of the time, which is okay. But we could do a lot more is the moral of that story. But we are, and we're not going to stop. I should be going to DC pretty soon as well. Hopefully meet Trennis up there and see what kind of trouble we can get into. But it's fun.
Dang it.
Yeah, it's fun. And somebody's got to do it, hang out with him and try to keep him out of trouble. That's the full-time job.
That's the actual reason you're going, is just to keep him out of trouble.
Usually. No, I tell you what, he's my best J6 friend. You know what I'm saying? And it's amazing to know that God placed us all together like this. And there's no other reason that I would have met him. And let me tell you a little bit of how this works. So a few months maybe ago, maybe 2 months, maybe a month, it hasn't been very long, I was talking to Trennis and we met because of J6. He spoke at a Clay Clark's tour. One of my people said, hey, there's this guy. And we met, and we've been working together ever since. Now, I build videos for his stuff. We've always shared information with each other and worked on these different projects. So it's really a partnership in so many ways. So I could tease right there, and I would tell you I taught him everything he knows about J6 because he would say that, but I'm not that brutally honest in public. No, just kidding. But
you have to be humble somewhere. You have to be humble.
That whole legal advocacy group, though, he has been instrumental in getting these lawyers together and getting, points on the board for that. They use my information to do that with. So it's such a symbiotic kind of relationship. We feed on each other, the information, the helping people, and that's just what we're 100% into. But it's been an interesting journey because having that best J6 friend, I told him a few months ago, I said, you know what? I think I got you on video that day. And I said, because you get to know somebody, their voice, their speech and inflection and tone and what they say and the content of their speech a lot of times. And I said, I've been thinking about it. I think I got you on video on January 6th. He's like, what? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. And I went through my camera, again, and I found Trennis Evans in my video walking along on his megaphone. I filmed him myself. The odds of these things, folks, are just astronomical. And it's hilarious all at the same time. I sent him the video and I was like, here, dude, I got you on video too. He's like, wow, because that's small world, small town, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But God's using the people.
But you know what?
That's right.
It allows, it's such a cool moment because you feel so seen, right? Like now you don't feel so crazy. Like, oh my gosh, like, you both have pictures of the same place, the same time, blah, 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 blah. But when you get to have those little tiny moments, I had a friend now, we weren't then, send me a picture at a Open Texas rally that I was speaking at in Laredo.
Yeah.
They're not from Laredo. And they said, hey, I have a picture of you that I just found. And it was such a great candid moment. And I know that nobody watching the show will believe this, but I was laughing. And everyone was talking about me from the stage. And it was such, like, it's such a priceless moment because, like, you get to live it, but then when you get to see it from somebody else's perspective.
Well, it's funny because there were 1 million plus people there, I'm sure. And it was amazing because you would think it would be like a high school reunion. You're going to see 50 of your friends and you're all going to be hanging out together and, whatever. And it just didn't turn, I saw, I think 2 people that I knew, or 3 actually, because 2 of them were together. But that's the kind of deal. I mean, there were so many people from all over the country. So one of the guys I saw was Coy Griffin, Cowboy Trump. He was walking by that big dump truck, the orange one everybody sees in these videos. And there's that naked cowboy with the guitar, the guy that wears the bikini and he plays guitar out there. It's hilarious. And he's all over the country, New York, all over. They call him Naked Cowboy. So there's Naked Cowboy and Cowboy Trump. Now, standing in front of his guitar, you can't tell he's got any briefs on. He just looks naked. So it's funny. But so Coy Griffin's there. I'm saying, hey.
No, Walter.
Exactly. Don't do it, Walter. So I said, hey, Coy, how's it going? Good to see you. What's the deal? And this is before he got up and prayed on the top, so that was kind of crazy that we would run into each other. But in the background behind us is Ray Epps saying, we're going to the Capitol. It's that way, And it's interesting to know we have all these little bits and pieces in our cameras that all our friends captured. And that's what's being used to fight these battles for our friends. It's really amazing.
Walter, are you going to tell us about a new segment that's going to be on Bacon Nation, the naked griller or something? Like what?
If you've never tried grilling bacon naked, frying up bacon naked, it's like playing with hand grenades. It's awesome.
It's a sport, dude.
It is.
It'll leave you mark.
It leaves the sizzle makes the meat oily. It's great.
Oh my goodness! That's really weird. Pigs don't smell good till you cook them. It's weird.
That's what she said. Oh man.
No, you know what, David? I couldn't agree with you more. Like, and if you've never been to a rally in Washington D.C., whether it was a political one, whether it was a religious one, whether it was, there are rallies happening in Washington, D.C. all of the freaking time.
Yeah.
And you can go there with a plan. You're going to see 50 of your best friends there, and you won't find one of them.
You won't see them.
Because of the sea of people. You
won't see them. You can even buy those fancy little walkie-talkies with the earpieces and look all over the place. And you'll lose your own people that have the other walkie-talkie. Yeah. We lost David Snow like 3 times. And there's 1 million people. I thought we would never find him again, like 3 times. Like, where did he go this time? He's gone.
Not even back at the hotel will you find him again.
We would all be lost, So it was like that. But when the cell phones didn't work right and all that stuff, and then, I think one of the things people need to realize, Bowser put out a text message, during the day, 3 or 4, whatever time she threw that out. I have to look, but she said there's going to be a curfew at 6:00. She could have just as easily said, get your butt off the lawn or you're going to jail. Everybody needs to leave the property or you're going to jail. And everybody would have left because they all looked down at their phone and went, oh, okay, 6:00. We'll hang out till 5:30. And then they thought it was okay. So there's a lot of this bait and switch stuff going on, whether it's the 14,000 hours or what time we should go home or who did what or who attacked who. But I can tell you the FBI came to my house in March of last year for the first time. And they got a good explanation on the deaths and the murders and what happened from what we knew in March already. You know, that Kevin and Benjamin weren't just natural causes and Roseanne Boylan wasn't a drug overdose. Right. So the FBI has literally been sitting on exculpatory evidence for a lot of these cases since March of last year. And I just hope that that comes out someday and doesn't cause me too much pain and misery. But that's the advantage of them coming to the house. And you're able to tell them, hey, Roseanne Boylan. And they say, well, who was with you and who's on your list? I said, well, like David Snow, he witnessed Kevin Greason's murder. Well, okay, we won't call David Snow. They've never contacted him because he caught one of the deaths on his video. They don't want that. They don't want that as a case. They don't even want to have to kick that down the road. They'll ignore that one and let that one slide. He might as well be on their team and they'll let him go. So that's what we're dealing with. But the public video is so important. If anybody else has any secret stuff that's not out or conversation, testimony, witness statements, injuries that you took, just reach out to me, David at stophate.com or tips@stophate.com. And we take all that, we do stuff with it to help people. And we would never throw you under the bus as that end of a journalist. I've never betrayed anybody's trust or faith, or I wouldn't still be here. And but we've been able to collect probably the biggest collection. We got a really big 2 terabyte dump not too long ago that's just amazing. So there's a lot more truth. We don't need the 14,000 hours, but we'll take it. But if we never get it, don't sweat it and don't let that be what keeps us from gaining the freedom of our people. You know, release the video, fine, but release the people. We'll go over that video at our leisure. And if you need to talk to these people, call them on the phone. They'll be at their home. They're not a flight risk. They're not a danger. They never were before. They never are, and they never will be. So unless you keep doing this stuff to people, that's the whole deal. And that's what they want is destruction and carnage and more pain and torment for the people.
So, David, you actually hit the nail on the head there. What people do not realize, do you know what some of the most condemning evidence in the Kyle Rittenhouse acquittal is the fact that the FBI flew a drone into that crowd. They were monitoring the violence that was going on up there in Wisconsin. And 1, they didn't do anything. 2, they tried to hold on to their evidence to the end of the trial. The attorneys for Kyle Rittenhouse accidentally found the evidence. You know, and that was the FBI. You're exactly correct.
Well, that's funny.
Evidence they hid.
That's funny because we've got 2 cams. You know that scaffolding tower right in the middle on the west side? There's a little arm that sticks out, and on that is one of those little bubbles that has the cameras in it. You know, there's a couple of them, and so there's a east and a west cam, and you know they work just great until about 5 minutes after 1 when everybody's walking down those sidewalks, and they're the ones on the scaffold, so they'll be able to see all the stuff straight down the crowd. They quit working at 5 after, and they never work again. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
There's other cameras that you can look at in the government database where it'll be they're stationary cams, but they're adjustable. So you might be on one camera, and all of a sudden it pans in and starts going somewhere, and then take, for instance, Benjamin Phillips' body. He's down on the ground, and there's a wide shot, and all of a sudden the camera goes over and goes down, and you see them working on Benjamin Phillips. So the people that were running the cameras were watching what was going on and zooming in on different things and looking. So I bet those scaffold cams were probably zooming in on people and watching what the cops were doing and getting their evidence for them. And we can't see that. So that's a really, really interesting point about the Rittenhouse thing. And I will share that with Trent as soon as we get off the phone here. I mean, these are the things that we're trying to do to break it open. Nobody else is doing it.
Well, you know, it's exciting when we got to actually sit down and hang out with Trennis and everybody when you guys were in Montgomery County earlier in January. That was like, there was a couple things that we were just kind of off of the cuff talking about.
Yeah.
And then you just see him kind of like, wait a minute, say that again.
Yeah.
And then he, like, it was something that, you know, that I had said about somebody that I knew that was there that I had a lot of questions about, just things didn't make sense with the before story, the after story, and the since story, you know what I mean? And so he said, "Hey, can I send you some videos and tell me what you're seeing?" And so he did. And then I told him what I was seeing, and he's like, "Hold on just a second," like in real time. And he's like, let me get somebody else to hunt that narrative down. Because it was just, I said, look, I don't have any real skills. I'm a mom, so I see things that other people don't.
Well, that's the thing. And we were there, the witnesses, especially the people that knew that there's a difference. They didn't take the bait because they were there. They're like, no. I know that the people weren't there to overthrow the government, so I'm not going to even look at it from that perspective. If you look at it from that perspective, I'm sure you'll find it. You'll find idiots out there saying, hang Mike Pence. You'll hear people saying, burn it down. But that's not the overall mood, is it? That's a couple of idiots that were there for sound bites that were either hired by HBO or the government or somebody. And we've got those people in the crowds. Where Officer Fanone comes down, there's a camera crew. There's boom mics. There's people down there to capture that scene. You can't tell me they're not, because they're there. They're on video. And it's expensive cameras. It's not iPhones. It's not somebody's Samsung up in the air. It's a $4,000 camera that's sitting there getting specific scenes, specific angles that show a specific thing that may not be true because they're catching something or a reaction or whatever. Listen, we got guys that are getting charged for hitting police shields, and the still picture will show them like that. But if you run the video back, it'll show the shield coming and pushing the guy back. So you got a shield coming in like this, but it makes it look like he's hitting that shield, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But they're pushing him back, and that's where the picture is. Those kind of things are being used in court against these people. So if you were there and you know the difference, you feel the difference, you got to tell the difference, because that's what's going to make the difference. Man, I should write all that down real quick. That was really good.
No kidding. You should. You know what? You should speak about this a little bit.
Right? I get in trouble when I go to speeches. Because I say funny stuff like I did in Montgomery County the other day. That was really fun for me, though. I don't get to be dumb like that very often, but when I do, I enjoy it. And I got to tell people the comment I made to the crowd, and half the crowd got it, half the crowd was appalled. But I got up there and I said, let me just tell y'all right now, every policeman that died on January 6th deserved it. And you could hear the crowd, man. It was like one side was like, yeah, that's funny. And the other crowd was like, I can't believe he said that. And I said, but wait, I can say that with all confidence because no policeman died that day. Y'all have been fed a lie. There was 0 police deaths. So every one of the cops that died that day deserved it. There were no cops. It's like the other day we put a thing out with Soul Meme about Elmo getting his shot and dying. And I'm like, that's it. I killed a puppet. I killed
Shame
a puppet.
on you.
People are going to get so mad. I can't believe you would say he's a puppet. They're supposed to be funny. Let's be real and talk about lives. It's like when you look at the Capitol, what are you worried about? Broken glass or deaths? Oh, they broke windows. It was so violent because I could hear the glass breaking and see the little small pieces. They'll never be whole again. Whatever you're thinking. People died over here. People died. That's what's important, not the broken glass.
And remember, David, that broken glass, those were peaceful protests when they were in Milwaukee, when they were in New York, when they were in Los Angeles.
But not
CNN will tell you, don't call that violence. Now, that's not against people. That can't be called violence. Now, that's just broken windows, and there's no people involved. I did a hit piece on it. I had my guy.
Oh, guys, we're out of time.
I had a video. I got to tell you, I had that video of J6 stuff with that guy talking about that stuff. Go check it out on my social media. It's really funny.
David, you're welcome on our show any single time. We're 5 days a week for 2 hours, so you come on anytime you want to. The floor is yours.
I appreciate it. I love hanging out with y'all. It was fun.
Anytime. Guys, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have Walter and John, and we're going to get to the bottom of who actually put that balloon image on our Facebook page. Ugh. We'll see you guys later. Bye, y'all.